use creativity to deal with your emotions. When you go through a bad time, and bad time can be anything, health-wise, a divorce, just anything that you're having a hard time going through. The creative process is something that can deal with your emotions. I use painting. It can be knitting, it can be baking, it can be baking bread, okay, kneading dough, writing, photography, anything that gets your emotions out there. And then you don't have him, they don't block you. I started to paint in 2000. I knew that I was going to paint when I retired. I retired in 2003, but I knew that at one point I needed to paint. It was important to me to start painting, and I retired after having started. I would say it just didn't come to me. I had cancer, and all of a sudden I started to paint. I painted, first of all, portraits. I didn't feel free painting that. So I felt that I needed to become freer. Painting portraits was easy. Painting abstract was very difficult. It was very colorful. I used color. My stroke were dancing, and I could put in my moods and my feelings into my paintings, and that was very liberating. In July of 2013, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, a lymphoma. Two of the first paintings that I did a year and a half before were paintings that were sort of premonition. I didn't know what I was painting. I was painting colors that were my colors. My favorite colors are orange and turquoise or teal, but the forms were very different. And the forms, now with hindsight, when I had my first MRI, it really reminded me very much of the way my MRI looked. But probably there was somewhere in me something that was changing. The next painting, a painting that I called Before the Storm, and it was created in the beginning of July of 2013. Remember, I said I was diagnosed the end of July 2013. This was just a month before I was diagnosed. The colors were changed. I totally changed my palette. I changed my brush strokes too. All of a sudden they were not dancing and all that. They were very much somber and straight, and it looked like something was happening. It looked like there was some dark cloud coming from the right hand side into my painting. And while I painted, I did not realize that. I just painted, it just comes out, and I paint extremely fast. With hindsight, it looked like something was really happening. The week that I started to lose my my coordination in my right hand, I couldn't sign. I couldn't write. I couldn't sign. That's the first sign for me that something was happening, even though I didn't know that something was happening. And that happened like less than a week before I was really full blown with my symptoms. It's really a very dark cloud coming in on my right hand side. I painted this one the week that things were happening, and you can see already that things are even darker than before. And then life became better. Cognitively and physically, I was really getting to where I was supposed to be. And so in November of 2013, I was well enough to do my first large painting. What I incorporated in that was one of the ribbons of presents that I got. I got a lot of presents. I decided to keep some of the ribbons, and this was one ribbon that I incorporated in it. Sort of it's a collage type of thing. The colors are back to something that are more like me. I call it String of Hope. If you look at it from a point of view of a painting, it's interesting that the right side was so dark before, and now the right side becomes light. The two next ones, my oncologist kept saying things are going to get worse. things are going to be worse. The next 2 months are going to be really, really much worse. So I had some anxiety, not very strong, but some anxiety. And that anxiety took me just one day to get rid of it. Because, like I said, I paint very fast. And I painted this painting, which I called Angst. As soon as this one was painted, and again, the colors are different. I painted this one on a black background. Why, I don't know. Brush strokes are very straight. All of a sudden, I could see my angst, my anxiety, my fear on the painting. It wasn't in me anymore. And that was a very, very eye-opening feeling. I was very surprised, and I turned around and I looked again, and again I saw that my fear was on the painting, and just I didn't feel it anymore. The next painting was in January. I was told that was going to be the worst of the worst as far as the chemo was going to be. I was going to be 3 weeks in the hospital, and it's going to be really, really bad. I painted the next painting, which I called Fear. And it's very turmoil, emotional and all that. But again, I felt that my fear was on the painting and not in me anymore. Wasn't that easy, but I did not feel so scared of it. When you look at it, some people see that it's very frightening, and when I look at it, I see some dolphin frolicking here in water. Just it depends on what you look and what you see and what it makes you feel. But for me, it was, I don't know if it's a good painting or bad painting, it doesn't matter. It was, my fear was on that painting. The next painting, and I was ready to have my first post-treatment MRI, and it was postponed. Now, having it postponed was really difficult because I was waiting for something that I really needed to know that I was okay. And I felt okay, I knew I was okay, but it still, I needed to have that knowledge. I had 5 days of postponement, and what do I do during those 5 days? So I painted. What I put in there is I also put a ribbon of a present that I got, but I cut it up. Now, why did I cut it up or whatever? I don't know, just probably people can have some reasons why I did that, but I wasn't thinking when I was doing it. And then I incorporated also some identification bracelet from the hospital that I also cut up and put it in it. And overall, it looks very cheerful. So I call it one day at a time. But when I look at it, I really feel more like fiesta. I still wasn't sure where I was in my, in my journey of cancer journey. I was wondering if I was a positive person or not. I was looking always at my parents who survived the Holocaust and thought they had such positive, they were such positive people. They were funny, they were positive, they were just delightful people and gave us such a wonderful youth and childhood. And going through this thing, I decided I probably had it. It probably came from my parents, my positive attitude, the fact that I really did go through it with a smile. So thank you very much.